The woke side of the internet thinks going through someone's old MySpace account makes them part of the resistance. It doesn't, it makes you a Colonel Alexander Vindman, exposing the Ukraine fiasco. Noble.
Bill Maher is back at war with woke culture, and this time, he's turning up the heat. His latest target is the self-appointed moral police who dig through old tweets to cancel people over jokes made years ago. Maher didn't hold back, calling out their hypocrisy, fake outrage, and obsession with public shaming. It was a brutal takedown of cancel culture at its worst, and it hit hard.
That's not you taking down the host of the Ice Capades. You're a loser with Wi-Fi and all the time in the world to listen to long-forgotten podcasts. You're not a journalist. You're just a creepy little rat. Go to Texas and catch a run.
Bill Maher is ramping up his fight against woke cancel culture, and this time, he's targeting the self-appointed moral police. These are the people who dig through old tweets like digital archaeologists, hoping to destroy careers over jokes made a decade ago. Maher didn't hold back. He called out the hypocrisy, fake outrage, and sick thrill behind public shaming. What started as accountability has turned into a toxic sport built on humiliation, control, and virtue signaling. And Ma is having none of it. Let's roll the clip.
Being a snitch, now it's not a bad thing. Oh, it used to be. Used to be one of the first things we taught children. Nobody likes a tattletale. But now, virtually any public accomplishment comes with the obligatory follow-up snitch story a few days later. Like what happened with that sad schmuck who was supposed to host Jeopardy! But fortunately, the honor of game shows was preserved when Squeal Team 6 went through his old podcast and found out he once used the term whatever the
If you've seen the harmless old tweets people get canceled over, it's shocking. Jokes, memes, or teenage nonsense are twisted into proof of moral corruption. Context and time don't matter to the mob. They hunt through digital history looking for a victim, rewriting intent to fuel outrage. It's no longer about accountability, it's about destruction. They don't want apologies. They want scalps.
I'm sorry, Mike, but we, the perfect people who have never made a mistake, we just can't let society be sullied by horrible people like you. Bye-bye. Fans of cable news will recognize the rising journalist Alexi McCammond, who was appointed editor of Teen Vogue, but then had to resign before her first day when some of her high school tweets suddenly became too much to bear. Tweets like, "Now Googling how to not wake up with swollen Asian eyes." And, "You're so gay."
That's the hypocrisy Bill Maher is exposing. The self-righteous internet detectives who obsessively dig through old tweets are often the biggest hypocrites of all. They have their own bad takes, offensive jokes, and embarrassing opinions buried in their timelines. They just hope no one looks. Maher's point is simple: if everyone were judged by their past, no one would survive. These digital moralists pretend to be flawless while weaponizing old mistakes, and if the spotlight ever turned on them, they'd collapse instantly.
And her resignation was endorsed by the hierarchy of the magazine, including the senior social media manager, Christine Davitt. Oh no, you just ruined someone's career for no reason. Same diff. Funny end to the story, after Alexi McCammond resigned for her innocuous tweets, someone went through Christine Davitt's old high school tweets and oops. Seems she tweeted the N-word twice to a white friend in 2009.
This is exactly why cancel culture always turns on itself. Everyone has said something stupid at some point. That's called being human. People grow, learn, and move on. But the cancel mob doesn't care about growth. It feeds on outrage. They act morally flawless while pretending their own pasts are spotless. Dig deep enough into anyone's history, and you'll find something cancelable. When perfection is the standard, hypocrisy is guaranteed, and eventually, they devour their own.
You know, this is why I'm a little hopeful that this purity purge may end, because it's starting to eat its own. ESPN reporter Rachel Nichols was a feminist success story, but when she complained in a private telephone call about ESPN's crappy long-time record on diversity and expressed her view that she felt like she was being sacrificed by the network so they could make up for that crappy long-time record on diversity, the call was leaked and
The former ESPN presenter's case is especially disturbing because it wasn't even a tweet. It was a private phone call. Something said in confidence was leaked and weaponized for public outrage. In today's cancel culture, privacy no longer exists. Anything can be recorded, exposed, and used to destroy someone for clicks and clout. It's not about justice anymore. It's about humiliation and spectacle. When private conversations become public scandals, accountability turns into surveillance. Exactly the kind of madness Bill Maher warns about.
In addition to the fact that a person shouldn't have to love getting fired, even if it does achieve more equity, this was a private call. Does private mean anything anymore? Apparently not. Even sadder, this love of snitching seems to be one of the few areas that is now truly bipartisan. Snitch Nation isn't about what side you're on. It's about this mindset where everyone is an amateur secret policeman and
There's nothing brave about ratting people out online. Destroying someone's life from behind a keyboard isn't courage, it's cowardice. The far left frames cancel culture as a moral crusade, but it's really just digital blood sport disguised as virtue. Bill Maher calls it exactly what it is: pathetic. These self-appointed enforcers feel powerful only when tearing others down. If your biggest contribution to society is ruining reputations, you're not a hero. You're a coward hiding behind righteousness.
And Republicans lately, besides sponsoring that new reality show, Texas Zygote Hunters, have been encouraging college students to whip out their phones to record and report professors who espouse leftist ideas. As always, these snowflakes fall just as hard on the right as they do on the left.
If the far right does the same thing, they deserve the same criticism. This isn't about left or right. It's about free speech. No one should lose their career or future over something they said years ago. People change, opinions evolve, and punishing past speech destroys the very idea of liberty. When speech is weaponized retroactively, it's not justice, it's cowardice.
Colleges pride themselves on being safe spaces, not for professors. At least not any who might want to stretch young minds to think differently and try on new ideas. Yeah, try that at your peril. Same with comedy clubs, where ever since the iPhone, comics have been complaining about snitches in the audience who'll rat them out for crossing the line, which is practically the job description of a comedian.
Comedy isn't safe anymore. The far left polices every joke, ripping punchlines out of context to fuel cancel campaigns. Even comedians like Kevin Hart lost major opportunities over old jokes that were already addressed. What was once a space for laughter is now treated like a crime scene, leaving comics afraid to be funny and audiences afraid to laugh.
Comics are joking constantly. Even some people who aren't comics do that. And if you're lucky enough in life to be around people like that, I'm sure you know, they can't all be gems. Sometimes you get the twisties, and the joke doesn't land just right. Exposing that doesn't make you noble.
Maher fires back with a hard truth. Real courage is about preventing harm, not hunting decade-old tweets for cheap moral wins. There's a clear difference between protecting people and persecuting them. What the cancel crowd calls accountability is really just public humiliation disguised as virtue. Maher says it plainly. It's petty, shameful, and completely un-American.
Snowden enduring exile in Russia so he could expose unlawful government snooping. Noble. Colonel Alexander Vindman exposing the Ukraine fiasco. Noble. That's not you taking down the host of the Ice Capades. You're a loser with Wi-Fi and all the time in the world to listen to long-forgotten podcasts. You're not a journalist, You're just a creepy little rat. Go to Texas and catch a runaway
In the end, Maher's message is simple. Cancel culture is destroying common sense, free speech, and comedy. What began as accountability has become public shaming for past mistakes and human flaws. Everyone has said something dumb, but the mob never forgives. Maher isn't defending bad behavior. He's defending sanity, nuance, and free expression. Because once outrage becomes a weapon, it eventually turns on everyone.